Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Hi. I think it was 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, that I was at this college called BITS Pilani, which is in the north of India, trying to figure out chemical engineering third semester. I don't quite remember being good at anything that is remotely pertaining to chemical engineering. I didn't even know what thermodynamics meant. So every night I go to sleep, I used to get dreams. Dreams varying from actually cracking a course, which I'm actually fighting an NSIM D, or to getting like really good food in the mess, and sometimes even like really complex ones like, I want to start a company and be rich by 30. But what really ended up is that none of those were working for me, because I wouldn't get good food in the mess, nor am I going to be really good in chemical engineering to actually do really well in my grades, nor am I sure if I'm going to run a company. So I started thinking about dreams which are a little more tame. Now, stuff that I could actually dream and think about working through. So I could sing a little, just about a little. And I started thinking that, okay, one day I'm going to be this super famous singer that everybody's going to stand up and watch. So what I started doing is I started looking at avenues to sing. Most of the times you end up singing songs that you don't want to sing in college, right? So I felt pretty discouraged. Nobody wants to hear me sing anyways, because there's always somebody singing better than me. Right, so I just went back into WAP and I started doing my own thing and trying to work some music of my own, write some music. None of that was working. So I was thinking, is any dream at all worth pursuing, because none of that is working. And also there was this thing in my mind which said, hey, this dream is too tame. It's so normal. The guy next door can think about this, and what difference am I making? So I kept thinking about it, then I ended up in Bangalore as a software engineer. Almost everybody who studied engineering at that point in time did end up in the software industry. So, and what happened is I really started liking my job as a software engineer. I like the fact that the money comes in on the first day of the month, and there's a lot of money to spend. And also there's this good reputation within the family that, oh, you know, he's working in a software company called Adobe. You get the occasional ones which says, oh, you didn't get placed in Infosys? But that notwithstanding, I started liking. But at the same time, I was also wondering, hey, what the hell, one more time to try pursuing your music. So I went to the Bangalore music scene. Like daily evening at the end of the work, I used to drive my bike to the clubs that play live music in Bangalore. The first day I turned up at a club, I was wearing my office outfit, something which is a little more deep than this. And I get into the club and I see a lot of people dressed like peacocks, leopards, you know, like fancy t-shirts, and I was completely out of place. So I was wondering, what the hell? So this music scene is not mine, because I am a carnatic vocalist, and this is not going to work for me. But I really wanted to do something at all. So I started growing my hair, little by little, and I started going to these clubs again and again and again. Usually, by the time my hair was about till here, I started thinking, okay, I at least can fake a rock star. So I walked into a pretty popular club in Bangalore with a CD of mine where I had sung a bunch of songs with guitars played in it. So the guy at the gate looked at me carrying a Mossa Bear CD with a permanent marker ink written Harish. He looks at me and he shows a board outside. Right to entry is reserved. He didn't even want to let me in. So I come back and I start wondering, what else will I do? So that's when I figure out there's a bunch of other guys who are like my friends who want to play music as well. They're all IT employees. They're all doing their day jobs. One guy's name is Ganesh, the other guy's name is Vignesh. They happen to be my juniors. One guy wanted a place to crash, and the other guy generally wanted to play music. So we got together in one house and started writing some songs, which nobody really cared about. Many a time, not even us. We would play that song back to us and saying, this is never gonna make it into the ears of anybody other than us. Never. We just kept thinking about it, and one fine day, a friend of mine called Swami, he said, hey, my son is turning 1 tomorrow, and I'm throwing a party. Do you want to come and play? I said, yes. Can I play my songs? He thinks, if you can actually play Happy Birthday to You twice, and a couple of songs that my son really likes, you could play 2 of your songs. I said, brilliant. I can sing Happy Birthday. That's simple. And I could also sing those 2 songs that the guy likes. So we ended up there, and we actually played a small gig, so to say. And I was the only guy with long hair and wearing a t-shirt where everybody had party hats and stuff. So what really transpired is we played a show, and a bunch of people like, parents of small kids walked up and said, hey, that was a really nice song. I've never heard that before. Rightfully so. We haven't heard that before we made it. This is the first time that we are playing it to somebody. So that gave me the confidence to actually say, okay, it's not that bad. Now you're actually playing music and somebody's listening to it. They're not going to hate you just like that. Unless you're like really bad, off the book bad, people are going to be nice to you. So that gave me the confidence to actually go and pursue this at a little higher scale. Another club in Bangalore, I find a bass guitarist and a percussionist, and I go to the club and meet the owner. So she looks at me and says, do you have tabla, you have a guitar, you have a vocalist, but we are a club that plays rock and metal. Yeah, so we will not let you play music. Then what really happened is we went back, okay, Bangalore is all about rock music and metal music, and I'm a Carnatic musician. And what we are playing is all facets of Carnatic music. So I tell my guitarist, let's just go back and start playing a lot of Dream Theater. Dream Theater is a band that we really like, and said, I'm going to start singing Carnatic music on top of it. So we just took canned Dream Theater riffs, and I started singing Tyagaraja Kritis on top of that. That sounded crazy. It sounded so crazy that the neighbors actually asked us to move out. But that was a crazy idea that I wanted to again go back to the same club and pitch, and I just put a name against our band branding which said Carnatic Progressive Rock. I was invited in. So what is Carnatic Progressive Rock? So I just make up something. It is progressive rock with a lot of Carnatic influences. You are on. I'm going to give you a gig. Nobody really knew what the music sounded like, right? But what really happened is, we went and did that, and a bunch of people came and said, dude, I do not know if this is nice or not nice, but it's definitely different. It definitely sounds something like that I've never heard before. So that was a great moment, and that was the first and last show that we played that year, and probably nobody else cared again. So again, we went back playing birthday parties and, terraces and whatnot. And in the year 2007, I think it was 2007, that the legendary South Indian composer, Dr. A.R. Rahman, put out a contest for bands, saying, I want to pick the best band in South India which is playing original music. So we again go back into a huddle and said, hey, can we ask our respective employers to give us a week off that we actually go and play this competition, just that we get good equipment to play on, and maybe there's an audience to play for. So we ended up in Chennai wanting to play this show, and almost everybody looked the part for that competition. So we didn't have a guitar. The guitarist didn't have a guitar, so we actually hired it from a small-time shop in Chennai, which actually had a broken neck. So the first thing that you would see is you have a guitar with a broken neck, and you don't have a drum technician. So we were completely out of place, but we end up playing that show, and as luck could have it, we clear the first round and go into the quarterfinals of the same contest. The quarterfinals, we play really well and we lose, and we go back. Okay, this is it. Then one day, I get a call from the organizer saying, Dr. A.R. Rahman would like to talk to you. So I freak out. I really freak out. This could be only two things. Either that guy wants to play a prank at me because I am set up for that. Right? I played like one gig, and the second gig was completely blown. But I take the flight to Chennai with two of my friends, and I actually go meet Dr. Rahman, who says the following to me. Hey, your music is great. I've never heard something like that. And I'm really, really sad you guys didn't win. So here is the deal. I'm going to give you a wildcard entry to go and play the semifinals. That blew my head. That literally blew my head. Somebody like Dr. A.R. Rahman does not need to please me, right? He doesn't. So maybe we were making some sense with our music. So we go and play the semifinals. We lose so badly that we actually sounded so bad. And we were actually thinking, Mr. A.R. Rahman gave me an opportunity, and this is what we do. But what happens is, we again get called by him and said, I'm going to give you one more opportunity because I like what you're doing. And at the end of it, we ended up winning this contest and got crowned as the best band in South India in 2007. Which is awesome, right? Which means you're set, right? You're the best band in South India. That means you're playing gigs every day. Like, you're pretty much touring every day. Next 3 years, I played 0 gigs. None, nada, zilch, nothing. Nobody wanted to even go back and say, A.R. Rahman, really? So that happened, and in 2010, finally, we make up our mind by saying it is now or never. And that's when I get a promotion in my company to become an evangelist for Adobe's creative products for entire Southeast Asia and Europe. So that would mean I'm traveling 20 days a month. and we also want to play shows. So I think that this is not going to happen. So we all said the regular stuff, right? You cannot manage two things, two full-time jobs together. I was told that I was agreeing, right? No, it is. Then one day I was just wondering, like, my mom was visiting me in Bangalore, because I and my wife go to the same office, so my mom was in to kind of help us out. She does more than 10 things a day some days, sometimes 20 things, and she never gets credited for it, nor does she stake any claim for being doing a lot of things. I was just wondering, maybe unknowingly we're all doing a lot of things. I just realized I come back from office, I'm actually going to a club and trying to find a gig, but not playing something. So I said there is ample time. Let us actually go and figure out something. So that is how we started and said we will continue to keep our day jobs because we are so pampered by getting a salary the first day of the month. I cannot lose that for a passion that I'm pursuing. So this is a common point that actually, when I speak to musicians who are full-time, I have a lot of respect to them, but a lot of them tell me that if you want to be serious about your music, you have to be playing only music. So in all humility, I tell them that that's not true. Because by nature, by the way we are wired, we are used to doing a lot more things. So when I get credited for saying you are an individual who is doing two things together and managing it, I feel I'm getting credited for something which I don't really deserve. Because the person who is actually saying that is indeed doing more things than I am without actually wondering or thinking about it. When you actually do two things together, there is an opportunity to do two more things. And it is only in your mind in terms of how much time you have. So I said, whichever gig is going to come, we will actually go and play that. If there's an opportunity to actually fly in the evening 5 o'clock flight and go to a venue and play a show, we will play that show. So that is how we started pushing forward, and we kept pushing forward. And we played a bunch of shows, and the work was happening. 2011, there was this show at Coorg called the Storm Festival, which was happening, which we really wanted to play. So we ended up there, and our sound check was 5:30 a.m. in Coorg. It's like really cold, and we wake up at 6 o'clock and turn up there at 6:30 to realize nobody's there. So at 7 o'clock when we do the sound check, two gentlemen from MTV India walk up there trying to set their equipment to cover the gig. We don't know who they are. So we do our sound check, and the person keeps looking at me and finally walks up to me and said, "That is really nice, I'm going to listen to your show." I was like really kicked. Oh, he's going to hear my show. So what really happens is that transpires into a situation where we finish the show, and he walks up to me and said, "Hey, I want to put you into the biggest fusion music platform that MTV is pushing forward this year called Coke Studio." So I went back home and joked to Vignesh, my bass guitarist, by saying, well, the MTV guy was either very pleased or he just did not like us. And every time we play something, we'll say, no, we won't play this now, we'll play that in Coke Studio. But as 10 days passed, I'm sitting in the office one afternoon, I get a call from a Mumbai number, and somebody from MTV calls me and says, "Hey, I have booked your tickets for May 7th. Please come and record an episode for Coke Studio." This Coke Studio had people like Karsh Kale, Nitin Savni, Shantanu Moitra, and probably all the people that I've actually sat down looking at. So when I retrospect, I was just wondering, what have I done extra that I get an opportunity to play Coke Studio? Nothing really. It is just that whatever came my way alongside my job, I just took it. I was just chasing what I thought was my dream realization. There is one tangible, achievable dream that I was continuously getting, which is about being a musician. There is always something that you could trade to pursue something that you like. So to summarize in the last 30 seconds, I just want to say that I am a normal individual who just decided to pursue what I believed in and pushed for it. And whatever I got rewarded was for simply that perseverance that I did, which I think each one of you have that skill to actually push for what you want. And that way, all of us are equally special and equally skilled. So me having an ability to stand here, I only want to utilize this opportunity to say, you could do what I did because it's that simple. Thank you so much.